Victor.adetiba with scrumlife.com, back with our What is Scrum book club, where we discuss and demystify Scrum for the masses. This episode is sponsored by Mansatech Training Academy, link in the description. If you've gotten any value from our videos on the channel, hit the subscribe button now. Today we're reading another excerpt from the book, 97 Things Every Scrum Practitioner Should Know, Collective Wisdom from the Experts, edited by Gunther Verheyen. Page 62. Digital tools considered harmful, sprint backlog. Bas Vad. It is unfortunately common to use a digital sprint backlog. I say unfortunately because of the negative impact a digital sprint backlog tends to have on team dynamics and collaboration. Using a digital tool for a product backlog might also be common, but is less harmful. Digital sprint backlogs should be avoided. I've observed 4 reasons why digital sprint backlogs are used, where each reason is a reflection of a team or organizational dysfunction. Number 1, the team is not co-located. Dispersed teams are common, as many companies pretend co-location doesn't matter and allow organizational stupidity to disperse the majority of their teams. Check out my article related to this titled, Co-Location Still Matters. Dispersed teams often end up quickly deciding to use a digital sprint backlog. Yet I've known many teams that manage fine with post-it sprint backlogs, whiteboards, video, and photos. 2, mandated sprint backlog tool. Although I have often inquired about the benefits of harmonizing the sprint backlog tool, the reasons to do so are still unclear to me. The most common response is a desire for better in-sprint progress tracking. This is a clear sign Scrum is being misused for micromanagement purposes, as in sprint progress tracking is the responsibility of the team. Another frequent response is to derive metrics from the sprint backlog, but metrics that make sense to people and instances external to the team are derived from the product backlog and not from the sprint backlog. The sprint backlog is for the team, not the scrum master or product owner, and definitely not for management. It helps the team take a shared responsibility and to manage their work toward creating a releasable product increment. What tool or not to use is up to the self-managing team. Management that mandates a tool doesn't seem to understand Scrum and how it was founded on self-managing teams. That is the real problem to solve. 3, sprint planning with a computer. Computers cause boring meetings. They centralize discussions, with the typing person becoming a bottleneck. Computer-centric meetings are dreadful events and waste people's time as they stare at the ceiling while waiting for the typist to finish. They become life-sucking events that make people wish they'd chosen a life as a bus driver. Computerless meetings can be much more productive and fun. Meetings automatically decentralize when the focus is on conversation and using cards or post-it notes to invoke collaboration. Everyone writes in parallel. Subgroups emerge and later merge again, and the cards on the table provide an overview of what was done. Sprint planning is shared software design and ought to be fun. 4, the Scrum Master adds tasks to the sprint backlog. Scrum Masters who touch the sprint backlog will own it and become fake Scrum project managers. Here is a non-digital sprint backlog from a team I worked with. The sprint backlog is the software design of the system, with boxes in 2 different colors representing the current system and the design envisioned, respectively, for this sprint. The post-it notes are the tasks that need to be done. This is the to-do column of a task board sprint backlog. I'm not suggesting that your team should work this way. This is how this team worked. They owned it. That is the most important reason for never using digital tools for sprint backlog. When using a digital tool, the tool determines the way the team works. Without a digital tool, the team can own and improve their own way of working. I have to admit, my favorite way of working and engaging with the team is on a whiteboard with sticky notes. When I worked in an office pre-COVID, this is what I would do with my teams. We would have our daily stand-ups, literally standing up around our whiteboard with our sticky notes. I have a rugby ball that I would throw around our team circle, and whoever had the ball would give their update. It got us up out of our seats. It got us engaged. It had us looking one another in the eyes. We were able to have true discussions, not just read off the notes that were in the ticketing software that we used, not to get distracted by other things on our computer, but to actually engage and have that kind of face-to-face interaction that Scrum and Agile is really built off of. And so while I understand, I've got multiple Scrum boards in my home, in my office, anywhere that I work. I've got a physical board. That is definitely my preference. However, I do see the benefit in having a digital Scrum board or Kanban board or sprint backlog for the team. As he said, different teams work differently. And so for a lot of teams, particularly that are not co-located, as he said, this can be important for the business or even product or sometimes external stakeholders, will say, for them to not have full transparency into our purpose, because that's one of the ways that I look at having a digital sprint backlog is the team being transparent into their processes as well as their progress. I think that sometimes the notes that can be updated in the digital Kanban board usually will probably be a little bit more detailed than what we keep on a whiteboard or even physical sticky note. And so someone else has to step in and take over a particular team member's work for whatever reason. It's usually a lot easier to see what progress has been made as long as the digital tool has been kept updated than it would be on a physical sticky note. So I can definitely see the pros and cons. So while I do agree for the most part with this, I do disagree with some parts as well. But every team, every Scrum Master, every organization knows what they need to best deliver the software that they work on. And so I think ultimately it should be a conversation that the team has amongst themselves with leadership. But I have seen some organizations where there are some rogue teams that will go off of the game plan or off of the blueprint that they are supposed to be following and say, we're not using Jira, we're not using ADO, we're not using whatever tool that we're supposed to use for our sprint backlog. We're going to manage our work independently of those. So, I always love to see teams that have that fight in them and have that renegade spirit to push back against the company. And as long as they have good reason for it, as long as their delivery does not suffer as a direct result of it, I encourage the teams to do that. So, did you gain any value from today's episode? Give us a like, leave me a comment, tell us what you think. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you can get notified of our future videos. Looking forward to seeing you in an upcoming episode. Thanks.